Hey guys, happy Friday. It's finally here. Super Bowl weekend. And my Super Bowl spectacular preview special. I know everyone's been waiting for it so fervently, and I'm finally going to do it. Seriously, this probably isn't going to be one of my longer ones. I think, you know, You've had 2 weeks to discuss this. Everyone in the world's picking it. I think the most interesting thing about this game is going to be, as usual with the Super Bowl, some of the bets that you can place. These are two very evenly matched teams. So let's just get right into it. Let's look at the rosters. I want to start with the Eagles roster, and you'll notice right away 14 and 3. Chiefs 14 and 3. Very, very evenly matched teams. I think Vegas has the Eagles as slight favorites at 1.5. I'll get into near the end who I'm going to pick. I think anyone who's watched any of my videos, you guys already know this. But let's look first at the QB positions. I think, Kansas City has the advantage there. Patrick Mahomes just won MVP, although I honestly think it should have been Jalen Hurts. Not to say he's a better QB than Patrick Mahomes is. I just think he was more valuable to the Eagles, and you got to see that a little bit more in his absence. It seemed to affect the whole team, including the defense. Not to say Patrick Mahomes, when he's not in there, of course, any starting QB you lose in the NFL, it's going to affect your team. But you see Chad Henne come in and do quite well. This is, where Andy Reid's coaching comes in. I'll also say that they obviously have the advantage at coaching. Not to diss Nick Sirianni or his staff. It's just Andy Reid's championship caliber material. This game's going to be played on a neutral site, so I don't think the Philly familiarity factor is going to come into play. Like if Andy Reid has to go into Philly and coach. Steve Spags is his defensive coordinator. Again, championship caliber coach. So as far as that goes, the QB, the coach, I think they have the advantage, even at backup. And I hope, let's just say this right from the beginning, I hope no one gets hurt on either side at any position. It's already unfortunate that like McCole Hardman isn't going to be able to play for the Chiefs. They're already a little bit thin at wide receiver to begin with, at least as far as talent goes. They might actually have a little bit deeper wide receiver position after you get through the Eagles' first two, being A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But, we'll see how that plays out. But I definitely think if it just God forbid, one of the QBs goes down, I think Kansas City can better absorb that because we've seen Chad Henne, the 98-yard touchdown drive versus the Bengals. We've seen it before in the past. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope no one that's kind of nursing an injury like a Lane Johnson, who's very important. And I'll get to that too. I think the Eagles have the advantage at both lines, both offensive and defensive. But I think the biggest factor in the game on the defensive side for either side could be Chris Jones. He's kind of that wild card where he could just, if he does what he does versus the Bengals, he could definitely take the game over. Not to say that the Eagles, I just said I think overall they have the better line. I think, like with most positions, the Chiefs, besides the wide receiver position, are just a little bit more top heavy. They have obviously, I'll try not to use that word as much. I do overuse it. I've been trying to get better at that. Trying to get better at not using my filler words so much. Always a work in progress. And I'll just stop and say I hope everyone's enjoying these videos. And that's all I want you to do. Just enjoy the videos and enjoy your day as much as possible. We all need that right now. You see, like I said, Lane Johnson, I hope he could stay healthy. And there's some familiar names for the Eagles, on the defense, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. They're just really good. They even have some, older Established names like an Ndamukong Suh, can he maybe muster something up? I would note that the two best players for the Chiefs are probably Patrick Mahomes, and then obviously Travis Kelce. But do not sleep on Dallas Goedert. He is one of the more overrated and one of the better tight ends in the league. When you talk about, there's so many tight ends in the league now that are so good. But I think Dallas Goedert probably gets overlooked a lot. And you saw it when the Eagles had their little losing streak. It wasn't that just Jalen Hurts was out. It was that Dallas Goedert obviously was not, he was out. And it just affected them. You saw it, their defense. But these were the two best teams all year. Let's face it. Oftentimes we don't get that, and they're both reasonably healthy. And again, oftentimes we don't get that unless you're a Tampa Bay fan. No one wanted to see the Chiefs have to go up against them with a decimated offensive line. We want to see both teams healthy in a good game. I understand the fan bases themselves might feel different, but let's face it, most of the people watching the Super Bowl aren't going to be a fan of either the Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles. The whole world's going to be watching this, and we want to see a good game, okay? We don't want to see some, Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos in Peyton's first go-around with them, where the first snap of the game, and you're like, oh boy, this is going to be a long one. We don't want to see the New York Giants versus the Baltimore Ravens, where the Baltimore Ravens, that first championship team, they just decimated the Giants. The Giants had no chance in that one. We don't want to see a game like that. And this is shaping up to be a good one. Now let's go look at the betting. As I said, the Eagles are a 1.5 favorite. I'm pretty sure that's still the line. I don't see that really moving at all. They're saying the over-under is at 50. I just looked it up, and it says it's now at 51. I mean, either way, 50, 51. And I'm not sure. Again, please, I'm not offering any betting advice. I just think people's inclination would be to say that, oh, they'll easily each score at least, 26, 27 points. I see a lot of picks for scores being in the high 20s or the low 30s. I don't take too much stock into picking the score of the game. I'd rather just pick the winner straight up. And the spread's so close. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. Let's get into some of the bets. I saw 82% of the point spread bets were on the Eagles, but the money that has been wagered is much more evenly distributed. Isaiah Pacheco, since his local high school near Atlantic City, he was attracting a lot of support, probably, from people betting on him near, in the Atlantic City area. This I thought was a weird one. BetMGM reported taking a $2,500 bet on Eagles running back Kenneth Gainwell to win Super Bowl MVP at 125-1 odds. Could you imagine if he does? If he somehow just goes nuts? There's a reason why he's 121 to odd, I won't say favorite, but there's a reason why the odds are that stacked against it. Other notable bets, 5,000 on the Chiefs to beat the Eagles by an exact score of 33-30 at 200-1 odds. That bet would pay a net $1 million. 2,500 on the game to be tied 0-0 at halftime at 250-1 odds. Wow, no one wants to see that. Honestly, I'd rarely say this, but I hope you lose that one. The bet would pay a net $625,000. This I actually thought was interesting too. This is kind of goes to the unusual. We all understand all the weird prop bets, from betting on the coin flip to how many times they show the Kelce parents in the stands, goofy stuff like that. But this one I actually think is good because it's going to be what's happening in one sport versus what's happening in another sport. A cross-sport Super Bowl prop featuring women's college basketball star Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston is attracting strong action at Caesars Sportsbook. The prop matches Boston's points and rebounds in the Gamecocks game against LSU on Sunday okay, thanks ESPN, versus against, that makes that sound good, Chiefs running back Jerick McKinnon's receiving yards in the Super Bowl. So her points and rebounds versus a running back's receiving yards. Interesting. The line opened pick'em, but what were described by Caesars as 6 standout bets on Boston moved the line. Boston points and rebounds are now negative 5.5 over McKinnon. Boston has attracted 98.5% of the money on the prop. So that's an interesting one. The bets are always funny. If you want to see any of this, again, this is on ESPN.com. As of Monday morning, the largest wager on a Super Bowl prop bet at Caesar Sportsbook was $35,000 on no kickoff or punt being returned for a touchdown. Okay. I don't see that one as being... Okay, it's against... You're very likely, so that's only going to pay a net $3,500. So you're betting $35,000 just to hopefully win $3,500. I don't know about bets like that. I'd rather bet a little bit amount, like just put $100 down on something crazy happening. Better at the sportsbook place $1,000 bet on Eagles QB Jalen Hurts to throw exactly 5 touchdown passes at 61 odds. Wow. Okay. Anyway, a lot of interesting numbers there. A lot of money going to be wagered just on this one game. It's actually insane. Now for it, who do I think is going to win? I think Vegas has this one right. The Eagles. They've been the best all-around team all year. They are very deep at every position group. The Chiefs' strengths are maybe a little bit better than the Eagles, where, you could say Patrick Mahomes is a little bit better than Jalen Hurts, and Travis Kelce is a little bit better than Dallas Goedert. And that's where it hurts the Chiefs, because where they have that huge advantage over most teams, they don't have a huge advantage in those instances versus the Eagles. And the Eagles, besides maybe at QB, can better absorb injuries, especially on the defensive line. If Chris Jones goes down, it's all but over for the Chiefs getting any sort of pressure on Jalen Hurts. And honestly, these games where the number one passing defense goes up against the number one passing offense, I think it's happened 2 other times, and those 2 other times, the team with I don't even know what they are. I just heard this stat, and guys, this is why they say defense wins championships. The other 2 times, the team with the number one passing defense has won. But hey, we shall see. Hopefully, it's a good game. I'd rather be wrong and have the game be an all-time close thriller than be right and the Eagles in a stopping. If I have to pick a score, I'm just going to go 24-17. And I know that doesn't... 24 Eagles, 17 Chiefs. Obviously, with that, you'd go with the under. And I know that doesn't sound that close, but hey, maybe that's on a last-second touchdown with a little extra point added in. So maybe 23-17. Let's just go with that. 23-17. Sounds good. Anyways, what do you guys think? I still managed to find a way to extend this to 14 minutes. I don't know how I do it. I hope you guys, gals, enjoy this. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Please bet responsibly, eat responsibly, drink responsibly, have fun. Stay healthy, and until the next one, peace.